To our October energy healing and light language activations. Welcome, 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 welcome. Look at my camera kind of situated. I've got the dog in the background who feels like my chair is her new spot, even though she obviously, girl, you don't fit very well there. You fit very well. So this is a session specific to healing and light language activations, whatever the guides feel is most needed by our TLC soul for the collective in this now. So if you're new here, settle in, get comfortable. Thank you for joining us. If you've been here for a while, same thing. Settle in, get comfortable. Thank you for joining us. It's a windy day outside. It's a little brisk. We've got the winter wear already coming on. Yeah, well, you guys saw it the last time if you watched Bringers of the Light Sunday. But we have a little tiny bit of a warming trend here. We're going to have 60s and 70s for a high, but we did have 27 yesterday morning. And I think I've done pretty much everything I can to prepare this place and this space at Mystic Gables for winter time. So you may be preparing yourself, like we talked about on Sunday, for winter time or change of seasons. It may not be winter. You may be in the other. Yeah, we do have listeners in the Southern Hemisphere. But this is right before being recorded right before a full moon too. The full moon in Aries. So before I go any further, let me wrap us all in love light and light love. Inviting in the guides who overlight TLC for the soul, Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, the Pleiadians, our TLC for the soul guides who would like to help us today with this healing session on behalf of the collective. So I brought out, you may want to get yourself something to drink. I've got my nostalgia, my HEB, my favorite grocery store in South Texas, my HEB mug with my pumpkin spice tea, my Celestial Seasonings pumpkin spice. What? Oh, it's because you hear. No, that's on this little. No. That's on this sound. I'm going to make you get down from there. Okay. And she walks with her sweater on in the mornings, but she doesn't want to take it off when she comes in the house. All right. So that's Mia. She's my familiar. She's a Catahoula leopard dog. They're very unique and interesting, quite territorial. All right, so I brought out my treasure chest, so whatever we're going to find in here. And I also brought out the Fairies Oracle by Brian Froud, so we can kind of tailor and customize this healing to everyone's needs. So I'm going to dig around, if it's necessarily digging. I know the dragons are here. I know that when we wanted to work with this dragon's blood, it's not only got dragon's blood, but a lot of the stones are dragon's blood. We're going to do light language activations. If you've never heard light language before, you know, it freaks you out or whatever, you know, just take what resonates and leave the rest. I know a lot of you are interested in light language, but let's just see. Okay, so we've got the dragon's blood. I do a lot of dragon light language, a lot of fairy light language. Now let me just close my eyes and see what else is trying to come out of here. Where do we need to focus this healing today? Oh, we got a little wand. Pew. This is a little wand I picked up in when I lived in New Braunfels. It's gotten a little old now, but I still have it. Look, it still has the little, like, mossy little stuff, although I probably just took off some top. This was like, I think it's from the oak trees down there. oak trees follow me around because this house has a ton of oak trees too. And there's one more thing that they want me to dig out of here. What is that? Ah, okay, some Palo Santo. So let's light the Palo Santo. This is a really old piece. There's something about nostalgia this week, but I don't know if you guys have been feeling it, but all week I've been getting the nostalgia stuff. I think we're closing out over the next month or so with this full moon in Aries aspecting the North Node, which is all about the future, and with Pluto leaving Capricorn and entering Aquarius in the beginning. I think it's actually November the 11th or 12th, which is right at the 11/11 portal, bringing everything back into balance. Watch that smoke too. Do you see anything interesting in the smoke? I have a lot of dragon energy that lives inside these Palo Santos. And sometimes it comes out in the smoke. Oh, it smells so good. All right, so let's get started. Oh, no, I'm just going to hear that cat. Let's get started. What we're going to do is we're going to let that Palo Santo burn a little bit more. And we're going to focus this healing using the cards. What do y'all most need in this now? Right before this full moon in Aries, it's tomorrow morning here for me. For some of you, I think it's been quite fiery and intense. I think we said in Bringers of the Light Sunday that if you've been doing your work on yourself, if you've gotten yourself into, if you've done a lot of healing on yourself, then it should have been a mostly peaceful time. But if you had more work to do on yourself, and we all do, I'm not saying I don't, believe me, there was stuff that came up during this time that I had to deal with, but luckily, thankfully, I know how to clear the energies. And so, you know, it's just a quick like, oh, this is coming up again, let me just clear it, and then I was just done with it. But if you don't know how to do that, or you're not aware, you know, then you can have a more rough time of it. So, you know, no judgment either way, no matter where you're at on your journey. Right. I feel like there's three different activations or healings we need to do, but let's just see what the cards have to say. What's the first thing? It's probably going to be a clearing. So you should always, when you're doing energy work on yourself, you should always be clearing out first before you're adding energy in. So I think sometimes there's just this predisposition to want to like fill up with power first before we clear out our energy fields, be it your chakras, your mental body, your emotional body, your astral bodies should be cleared of energy first before we start filling up with other types of energy. So the first thing we need to do here is, oh, we have the fairy godmother. But let me see. We've got an owl. She's holding an apple and like a crystal ball. Let's just look at the book. So we have Fairy Godmother coming out. That's card number 7. Let's just look. Well, it's not card number 7. It's card number 25. All right. I'm not going to... Okay, helpful lessons, gifts, and talents. One morning recently, I was having breakfast at the local cafe, and my favorite waitress, Peggy, stopped by my table and asked what I was working on. I showed her my scribbled-in copy of Good Fairies, Bad Fairies, and explained that I was, quote-unquote, choosing the cards for an oracle deck. Of course, the fairies were choosing them, but I didn't necessarily want to explain that to the whole cafe. Peggy had been having a bad morning with difficult customers, and she had reached the stress point where she was dropping and spilling things, which only made matters worse. I encouraged her to pause for a bit since the cafe wasn't really busy and take a look at the fairy pictures. She thought she couldn't, but I employed the Piper's wiles of friendly coaxing, and she took a little time out to look. Okay, time out. When Peggy got to the page of the fairy godmother, she stopped and smiled and said, "Oh, yes, she must be in the deck. Definitely she must." The longer Peggy looked at her, the bigger her smile grew, and the more insistent she was that I include Sari in the deck. When she went back to work, I noticed that she still had a little smile on her face, and her whole energy had changed. Things were not jumping out of her hands any longer. This is how Sari, the fairy godmother, works. She gives us grace to help us along our way. It might be a little touch of fairy dust to lift a mood. It might be a conspicuous miracle. It might be anything in between. She protects us from the ill will and plain stupidity of others and from our own mistakes. She untangles the snarls in our psyches and bestows gifts upon us, whatever she feels we need. Sometimes she gives us choices when we thought we had none. Grace is the good fortune we get from the universe even when we don't deserve it. In fact, deserving or not deserving is not the issue. We are, and therefore we are loved. It's that simple. Sari, the fairy godmother, is a giver of grace and of useful lessons. Okay, so let's take a look. You can look at the card. And do I tell the story? Okay, so they want me to tell the story that happened yesterday, and they're saying that that's going to clear your energy, it's going to raise your vibration, and it's going to uplift you and kind of give you hope in the divine and hope in the unseen. So we haven't had a good manifesting story since the guy that came up to me and did the whole knight's bow and like that. He was trying to work with my dog, but he like bowed like a knight, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm manifesting my dream knight. Not this person, but just the energy of this person was very cool. So we haven't had a good story since then, right? This random person just walks up out of the blue. So this story, it's a little storytelling, is, so I've been doing a lot of work around the house. I need to do a lot of work around the house, but some of it I think I need a drill for, because I need to like drive long screws and stuff outside onto the deck. Some of the wood is rotting and stuff, and basically there's a lot of work that needs to be done outside. And so there are, in the workshop I showed you guys when I did my bike tour over the springtime, there's lots of big giant tools in there, and I know there's like several big giant drills, but they're so heavy, like I don't feel like for my hands that's a good, that's good. I can't use it very well because I feel like with the battery pack and the thing, and so I was like, man, I really wish. I just kept saying, I didn't keep saying it, but I said, it would really be cool if I had like a drill that just fit nicely in my hand, was compact, was cordless, it was easy for me to use. And I'm like, oh, one day I'll go to Home Depot or whatever. I wasn't like in a rush to go get a drill because I'm like, they're not cheap. And I was like, maybe I can find one around the house. I know there's 2 or 3 around here somewhere, because I found the battery packs in the closet the other day, and I'm like, maybe I'll just suck it up and just use the big heavy one. But I'm like, what if I can't use it? All these things, right? So I just left it out there like, I just kind of left it like, man, it would be really nice to have like a drill that just fit perfectly in my hand. So yesterday, me and my son Nayoka went to Fargo. It's a 120-mile round trip to go do our shopping. And I wasn't thinking about drills or anything. I had all these other things I had to do. I was like, I don't have time to go to Home Depot, and I don't want to go look at that. And we got back home, and I was like, I have to get my dog out right away because she's been inside for a while. And so I go to take her out, and we're walking through the front yard, and I look in the street in front of the house, and I'm like, what is that thing laying there? I could just see like a thing. I couldn't see what it was. I was kind of squinting, like, what is that? And there was no cars coming because we had I'm at the end of like I'm at the end of like an L shape of my street. And I was like, okay, there's no cars coming. Come on, dog. And I was like, get in the road and let's see what this thing is. Okay, you guys, you're going to love this. It was a freaking drill. a cordless drill, very nice and compact little yellow one. I don't remember off the top of my head. I just did Walt or something yellow, but it was just perfect for my hands. And I was like, what the heck? It's a freaking drill. And so I pick it up and I put it on the yard, in the yard, just move it out of the street. I'm like, ask Spirit, like, is this meant for me? Maybe I should leave it there in case somebody comes back for it. So I waited a little while, nobody came back around. Like I figured maybe it fell off someone's car or truck or something. Nothing. So I go over to the yard and I'm like, maybe it's broken, because people are like that, it's broken. I'll just toss it out the window or whatever. And so I go and I slot the battery pack in and I press the thing and I'm like, it's fully charged. It's like, zoom, and I'm like, oh God, you guys, this is insane. This drill that I've been wanting just shows up in the street in front of my house. And this is how a lot of these fun little manifestations, like think back, because I think sometimes we forget about all, we're so worked up about the big things, like when's my person coming, whatever, when is my career going to take off or change, when are my finances going to, all these bigger things, what's going to happen here and there. And we forget sometimes about all the little fun things that happen. Like the majority of the furniture in my house was stuff that just kind of like showed up. And I told my son, I'm like, is that him? I told my son, can you believe that this drill just showed up in front of the house like that? And I told him, remember one day back when we were in New Braunfels, we were in our condo complex, and I told him, remember that time? He's like, yeah, we needed like chairs for our patio, because we had two patios. It was a very cool place. It had like a front patio and a back door with a back patio, and he had that whole area was his. And he's like, remember when we needed like the chairs for our patio? And we were just, me and him were just walking around the condo complex one day, and a lady says, hey, do you guys want some chairs? And we're like, maybe, and we go look, and they're like perfect, beautiful, nothing wrong with them, patio chairs. And so she's like, oh, you can have them. I'm moving and I'm trying to like, downsize or whatever. So we had got chairs for his patio like that. And a lot of my stuff showed up like that. So it's this fairy godmother energy and believing in these little miracles and enjoying. I think when we get excited about the little things that happen in our lives, it clears your vibe. Number one, it gives you like this faith, hope kind of feeling, like, man, because I think on the way home in my drive, I was like thinking about the bigger things I want to manifest. And I was like, maybe you just don't want what's best for me. Isn't what I want, like, I think I said something to the universe, like, don't you want me to be happy? Because it's taking so long for my thing to manifest. Why is it taking so long? We're over 4 years now. We're going on longer, and I'm like, oh, another winter and my person, and why is it just been 4 years? I was like, maybe you just don't want me to be happy. I kind of said it like that. I'm like, maybe whatever, I just was like, meh. And then I got home and that drill was on the street. And I was like, okay, so you haven't forgotten about me. I know they haven't, but sometimes it's like, you just need that extra boost to realize, like, okay, yes, you really do. You caught me my drill, right? And I am manifesting, because I'm like, maybe I'm not manifesting. Maybe there's something wrong with what I'm doing. You tend to question yourself sometimes. If things take a really long time, years and years and years is a really long time, because I'm used to manifesting like, oh, a house? Okay. 2 or 3 months, I have a house. Oh, a car? 2 or 3 months, I have a car. Not years and years and years and years and years. Even though it's even though some of these bigger manifestations are very multi-layered, and I understand that there's other things. It's not just as easy as being, this. There's other things going on behind the scenes. I get it, I see it, and I understand that, but still I'm like, oh my gosh, how long is a body got to wait for these things? So I think that was really fun, and really was like yes, we want you to be happy. We want you to have what you want. And for some of these bigger things, when they say it's divine timing and you've done everything you need to do and you just basically have to wait, what else can you do, right? But in the meantime, you are still manifesting what you need. And then you do have these little like fun gifts that show up that you're like, what in the world, in 1,000 years? I never would have imagined, that to be, I would have said like, oh, I guess at some point I just need to go get this drill. But to just show up in the street in front of the house, I thought was so fun. All right. So that right there, as we were telling that story, we had angelic Reiki, we had the angels coming in to clear your energy, because what happens is as you hear different types of stories and different things, you start to emote, and depending on what emotions need to be cleared or what things that story triggers in you, those emotions and those things come out, those thought forms come out of the chakras, come out as like gray clouds in your aura, and it's easier then for them to be cleared either by yourself, by erasing them or disintegrating them with violet light or violet fire or dragon fire or whatever you use. Some people's, not everybody uses the same methods. Or it's easier then for the angelic Reiki to come in and let the angels and the guides that are here at this moment come in and clear those energies out. All right, what's the second thing we need to work on? Okay, this came out in the reverse. The singer of connection. This is angelic energy, but I do think this has to do, this kind of the same thing. Maybe we need to clear the crown chakra a little bit more. This is card number 6. It might be the third eye too. Let's see. Whoops. Karma, balance, empathy, spiritual connection. Yeah, this is about, there are emotions that help us open up: love, compassion, trust, and so on. And there are other emotions that we tend to close down around unless we make a special effort to keep our hearts open. As you can probably guess, these emotions and feelings are like jealousy, anger, fear, grief, and others painful nature. So we need to clear some more of these emotions out. It looks like we're working with the heart, the crown, and the third eye. It is only by letting go of all your defenses that you become invulnerable. Okay, so we're going to use this angelic energy of connection. Through the power of this singer, all connections are made, held, and released as appropriate. In a reading, the singer indicates the connection of things, especially reconnecting those that have been sundered. It is unifying and reunifying. Tells us we need to be aware of connections between different aspects of issues under discussion, as well as connections between people linked by it. We also may need to build more connections. All right. So we're going to work with this dragon's blood. We're going to work with dragon energies. We had angels come in through the fairy godmother card. Now we're going to work with the dragon energy to do some additional clearing of all the chakras, to help you reestablish your connection to the divine, your heart connection with others, removing some of those lower vibrations that keep your heart closed. Opening up your third eye so that you can see, quote unquote, see with your master eyes and your master senses more of the abundance that's around you. More grace, more compassion. So we're going to be taking out those lower energies and adding in higher vibrational energies. So let's all take a deep breath together. This is light language. It's going to do all those things we just talked about. Just be open and receptive. And if you don't want to receive the light language, if it sounds weird or freaks you out, you should let it move through you, because what's happening as these emotions come up is those are the things that need to be cleared, versus just stuffing them back down and being in resistance to the healing that's coming through. Ringra arre e shishara ah rokurum pakatete tutoro filling up Take a deep breath. So that was a big heart center clearing because my whole lung space opened up with that. Over the next 48 hours, you're gonna feel, they're saying you're gonna feel like you just love everybody. Oh, I love everybody. Kind of like, this was the other thing that came up. I think some of you are recovering from alcohol or alcoholism. And this energy work gives you that same boost when you're really wasted and you're I just love everybody. Without the detrimental effects of the alcohol in your system, the higher your vibration goes, the more you're able to access those same realms that you feel like you can only access when you're wasted or drunk or high or whatever it is. And you don't need that anymore. And there's sometimes, I think it came out, a good one to listen to would be my Bigfoot light language channeling. It's one of those most popular watched shows on the channel. But in that one, I'm oh my God, recorded that 2018, I think. I remember that one because I was oh my God, I feel so high. People are going to think people are going to think I'm high, but there's nothing wrong with me. I'm just high on life. I remember that one really good. So that's a fun one to listen to too, because it helps you reach those ecstatic states of, basically ecstasy and bliss and joy and above codes. And it's the same thing that you try to reach when you drown yourself with stimulants or whatever whatever your thing of choice was, and you feel you need that. But with that, you have this coming down part, which the crash is much worse, right? And the depression, all that after the crash, whatever it is, then the high vibiness of being high vibe, which there's never really a crash. All right, last one. What's the last thing here? What's going on with this full moon in Aries and all of that? The hair and eyes of a fawn. And we have 6, 7, 8 in the cards. Or 7, 6, 8. This is card number 35. We've had card number 25, card number 6, and card number 35. This is the fawn. This is divine feminine energy. Let me take a look at this though. Card number 35. So much blue. We've been seeing a lot of blue. It's might be kind of hard to tell with the sunlight. Lots and lots of blue, indigo. This is Bringers of the Light call to action. If any of you have not heard the Bringers of the Light Sunday the October energy hangout, where we read the Bringers of the Light Earth Council updates for October. There are calls to action in there, ways that you can do service work and help others, help the planet, and we really need volunteers for that dragon prophecy. So if you have not heard that show yet, the Dragon Councils and the Bringers of the Light Earth Council are looking for as many volunteers as they can get for the dragon prophecy call to action. You don't have to go back and listen to that whole show to hear the channeling. You can go to the links in the show notes and look for my blog. I think it says my blog playground or something. Hit that link. It will take you directly to the blog, and the first thing there will be the October light language. Not light language, the October Earth Council update. And that's just text, of the channeling that I did. And the very last one is the dragon prophecy, because I know there's some of you that I think they're hoping will volunteer for that if you haven't already. You can also, just while I'm trying to find card number 35, if you're interested in our Patreon, that is a member space platform. It's a separate app, but we've got tons of content out there. We have some of our collections, like our week ahead card readings and our timeless readings, as collections that you can just purchase access to if you don't want to become a member, and then you get all updates to those particular collections whenever I post them. But I do post for all paid members in Patreon the Bringers of the Light Earth Council updates as an early access post, like a week in advance of when I drop it for everybody else. Card number 35. Natural magic is happening. When things flow almost effortlessly, it's a sign that natural magic is at work. Enjoy it. A very important part of natural magic is simply allowing the energy to flow through us. This means both giving and receiving freely. Let the energy flow. Don't push it. Don't try to control it. Just dance with it. Trust it. And remember to keep returning to the source of inspiration to keep your heart filled with light. This talks about going out in nature, self-observation. Stuckness is an illusion, the fawn says. Dance with me and it will all come right. At least many of the blocks in ourselves and in our lives will come right much more quickly if we reconnect with him. I think this is just like the fawn is understanding the nature of nature, natural wisdom, and natural magic. This talks about going with the flow, understanding and appreciating and expressing ourselves freely, dancing in the moonlight with fairies. That's my favorite place to be, running away with the fae, except Canton Kara, who keeps coming up in our Sunday Bringers of the Light readings. I'm not going to go do chores for Canton Kara in the fairy realms. Bless you and grow, provide healing energy, no fuss, no bother, just intention and natural human magic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some fairy light language, and whoever else wants to come through to help you break down your reserves a little bit, to allow yourself to flow and to not be so like quote unquote human all the time. To not be so mired in the 3D world constantly. This is going to help you it's going to give you like this impetus to want to take a look around, and shiny things was our topic on Sunday's week ahead reading. This light language is going to just instill a little bit of natural magic within you, so you can see how it feels, and you're going to have these like feelings to want to be like, what's that out there? What's under that tree? Is it a fairy ring? I don't know what. It's going to be different for each one of you, but over the next 48 hours, there's going to be something that comes up that has you like leaving going into the liminal spaces. So that's kind of like coming up out of your 3D world and wanting to go like, let's go walk through the forest and look around, or, I don't know where or what, let's go to the beach and like see what that sounds like in that shell. There's going to be something that's going to like help pull you out a little bit and help you see like the magic that's all around you. So by getting ready for this, we just sit up straight, they're saying. Be proud of who you are. Be proud of why you came here. Be proud of what you've accomplished. That was also part of our Earth Council channeling, is just by being here, be proud of yourself just by being here on the planet. This very light language. Let's take a deep breath. All right, friends. Let me see if there's anything else. Nope, they're saying that is all they have for you. Letting this magic, letting this healing, letting this energy work we've done right now integrate within you over the next 48 hours. Might be fun to keep a little journal or keep tabs on how you feel, what's coming up for you, where you're guided to go or what you're guided to do. And I think the next time we see you, I'm not sure what we're doing next. Probably what I'm calling tarot tales. But we shall see. We will definitely not. If we don't see you again, I'm thinking we will, but if not, we'll definitely see you on Bringers of the Light Sundays for our next chapter of Flying Potion. So I want to thank you all so much for joining me here, and we will see you all again soon. Take care. Ho, 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 ho.